What is going on, dog? What's going on, y'all, man? I haven't been on a video like this in a minute. For my people on YouTube, y'all probably just think I disappeared, like, because I haven't posted anything over on YouTube. But for the people who've been following me on Instagram, on TikTok, y'all know that I've really started to change my content kind of the aim of my content, right? So I know initially I was all about the music, and I'm still all about the music. I'm still out making music, but it's just become a little harder with my schedule. And also at first, I don't know how I feel about this camera angle yet, but if y'all have any suggestions or ideas, let me know. But anyways, I've really changed up my content strategy, because at first I was all about the music. It was all music, music, music. But I was also throwing in a little, the Mondays with Monty. I was throwing in the reading with a real nigga. I was throwing in the walk with me's. And I had a good little consistent schedule going. But things change. I wasn't too hell-bent on all of those things. It was things that I do. It was things that were part of my life. It was things that came easy to me to complete and to push videos out for. But then eventually I started getting busier. I got busier with life. Everything else kind of started piling up. So I was like, all right, I don't got enough time for this. And it kind of phased out. So it really became easier for me to make short TikTok videos of me just like talking. And I chose a lot of different topics to talk about. Sometimes I'll talk about music, sometimes I'll talk about this and that. But the biggest thing that I was always talking about was relationships, right? So over this period of time, I wanted to really figure out what was something that really spoke to me, right? What was something that really made me what was something I could talk about all the time? And I have a lot of things that I can, but there wasn't anything that necessarily felt drawn to. I had a lot of these things, and a lot of it came from I worked with mental health. So I was talking about the walk with me's, doing the mental health thing. I was doing a lot of reading at that time as well. So I was able to talk about the books that I was reading, and a lot of them centered around self-help. So that whole idea of self-help, mental awareness, mental acuity, and things of that nature all culminated into what I began talking about. I started talking about relationships. I got into a relationship. I got into a relationship. I'm still in a relationship, and it's it is the best relationship that I've been in, right? And there's a lot of things that I do differently in the current relationship that I'm in that I have done in a lot of my previous relationships. So I said, okay, let me start sharing this with the people who follow me and who cherish my opinion, my voice. And I know it flipped everything on its head, because at first I was all about music, and now I don't post music that much, right? So everybody who was following me for the music, they're not really getting music. So I do feel bad, and it's like, damn, I want to give these people more music. I want to give them more things, to listen to. But at the same token, I also have this overarching desire to talk more about relationships, because relationships have gone into the gutter recently. They've gone into the gutter. Also, I just thought about a way where I could make this angle a little better, but I'm not going to do it for this video. I'm going to do it for the next video. But next video, the angle is going to be a little different. But I was thinking about relationships, because there was always things that I would pick up, from people talking online. I'd listen to relationship advice, things of that nature. And a lot of it I tried, and it never really worked out, right? So I was like, damn, there's got to be another way to go about it. So there was really two things that kind of changed my entire perspective on relationships. The one thing was Patrice O'Neal. If y'all have never heard of Patrice O'Neal, he spoke about relationships to a great extent. And if you do know about him, you know that he was really extremist in the sense, right? So he was really on the edge of being very extreme, okay? So a lot of his ideas, a lot of people wouldn't really necessarily agree with, and the way he came off was kind of abrasive. So it wasn't really something that a lot of the majority would be keen towards hearing, right? But I also got another perspective from a softer side of that same spectrum. And having that softer side from the same spectrum allows you to find the middle ground between both. So I've spent these past couple months trying to find the middle ground between both, so I could come to a point where I generated my own philosophy based off of these two schools of thought that I had learned from, right? So then once I got that, and once I start to hone that in, and I'm still honing that in, but now I have the ideals from the softer side of the spectrum and the ideals from the harder side of the spectrum, and I can bring it into a happy medium. And it's worked out very well. Even when I started talking about relationship advice on this YouTube thing, but I just didn't have it fully fleshed out in my mind yet, and I didn't have a lot to talk about. But now that I've taken so much more time, so much more effort that I put into it, it's even evolved into something entirely different as well, right? It's even become something entirely different because now, granted, I still want to talk about the relationship stuff, but I realize all the issues with modern dating, and like obviously there's issues on both ends. There's issues on both ends, but at the heart of it, men have forgotten how to be men. And that's what it is. And I've been on a journey to be a better man since I discovered what it really is. And that was a question that I started to ask myself. I started to ask myself, what is a man? Right? And I don't necessarily have the answer for it yet, but I know what it looks like. I know what it looks like. And I think that could be also used as a definition, but I know what it looks like. It's a confident man, a guy who's a person who's in control of their emotions at all times, a person who's always got resilience even when life gets difficult, because life will always get difficult. A person who takes lead, takes charge, takes initiative over things in his life. A person that does not allow themselves to be a victim towards all the stressors and things that are surrounding them, and just push forward. A person who is confident in every single action that they take. I believe a lot of those traits and a lot of those things culminate into what a man is. And I know a lot of people might say, well, that should be something that a lot of people are in general. And sure, you're right. You're very true. But if there's anyone who should possess that at all times, I believe it should be a man. And that just comes from the biological aspect of it, because we're the only ones who generate the type of testosterone. Testosterone is what makes men confident, what makes men warriors in a sense, or what used to make us warriors. But nowadays, it has to come out in different ways. So at the end of the day, even that could be my definition for a man. A man is a warrior. A man is a warrior. And it culminates into everything else that I just said. But I really want to center my content towards making men, or inspiring men to be better men. So I've started to, relate everything that I talk about in relationships towards how to be a better man. And obviously, there's a lot of things that people talk about in relationships. They say you got to get rich. They say you got to have money. You got to be famous. And I want to tell you right now, if you believe that, it's not true. It's not true. The only thing that's going to dictate how well you do in relationships is the quality of man that you are at your core. The external things don't necessarily matter, but either way, the better quality man you are, the more resources and things that will come to you, right? The more you'll feel the need to be better, the more you'll feel the need to chase more money, the more you'll feel the need to start a business or something of that nature and become successful. But if you want to have a better relationship life, if you want to have a better social life, if you want to have a better life in general, you have to be a better man. And that's what I want to start teaching guys, because I feel as if I've learned what it's going to take to be the man that I want to be. And I've been taking the actions towards becoming that. And now I want to share that with every other man that there is. Right? So, maybe this type of content won't resonate with you, but I know there's a whole generation of dudes and kids and teenagers who are younger than me, who are growing up and learning the wrong things. They all got the wrong mindset. They all got the wrong idea. And hey, who's to say that what I'm about to say is right? Who's to say what I have to say is right? But I believe, and I'm basing this off my own selfish view of my life, my own point of view, I believe that I'm in a great spot. And if I believe that I'm in a great spot and the things that I've done and the actions that I've taken have gotten me to this great spot, I want to share that with a lot of people who are younger than me, people who are maybe even my age, so they can get to this spot too. Because I want all fellas to live a great life. And I truly believe I'm living a great life. And I believe that it's only going to get better with time. Right? So that's what I want to start giving to you guys. I want to start giving you guys more game, I guess you could say. And I'm going to tie it into relationships. I'm going to tie it into a lot of things. Relationships might be the biggest thing that I talk about. But at the end of the day, I just want men to be better men. That's all I want. I just want men to be better men. And once we learn how to be better men, everything else will fall into place. And that's what I'm going to leave y'all with for right now. There's not necessarily going to be, I guess I could start kind of building up from the bottom, and maybe the first thing I should talk about is the mentality, because if you don't believe that you can be a better man, you're not going to be a better man. And a lot of dudes don't have that mentality in order to become a better man. So that's where it starts. So that should be the first thing that I start with and build up from there, and how to get your mental into the right spot and how to get these certain things. So that's where I'm going to start. That'll be my next video, and then we'll go from there. So I appreciate y'all checking in. If y'all going to stay along for the ride, if you haven't heard of me before, here's a perfect time to catch on the ride. But if y'all have been rocking with me for a while, trust me, I'm going to get more music out. I have more plans to start recording more videos, to start doing more things. So I will be getting more music out, because that is what is at my heart, right? So I will get that out to you guys. But for right now, I'm going to start doing more of this. So I hope y'all are ready. I don't necessarily know how to close this out, but I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man.
Money been riding around town on this BS. Way to win up from a large to a 3X. D.O. been trying to play game like a DS. She said that she trying to bless me, but how she gonna bless me? We won't need a tissue or Kleenex. Boy, y'all don't know nothing about that. Fuck everybody, money been the MVP. How niggas that done got more bread than the kids still moving like they envy me? Ex-hoes had 3, 4 niggas since money, but they still never let me be. Baby said she got the mini